2024 is still not over, and if you have also, like many others, sort of dreaded on your task or procrastinated or just been a little bit lazy and wasted some time and energy of yours, then this is the episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about actionable steps and tips and tricks how you can save your 2024 and make the best out of the half year which is left for us. So welcome to Relationship to Self. This is Naisha Khanna and I talk all about self on this podcast. We literally are about self-growth, self-love, self-care, self-development, basically everything self. And since we are a permanent person, we definitely need to be up to the mark and we have to achieve things, and all of us have a lot of dreams and goals that we want to accomplish. But there are a lot of times where we procrastinate and we sort of dread on the task and we don't want to do it and we feel low and not so motivated. Then this is the episode where I'm going to be sharing everything you possibly need to save your year, to sort of have a reset and to get a new mindset and start 2024 fresh. Also, before we start, make sure you check out all the links in the description box below, because I have provided links to my book, my social media platforms where you can connect and interact with me. I actually do reply to some people, so make sure you check it out and follow me there to stay up to the date about the podcast, and since I'm an actor, all of my work as well. Okay, so this is basically a mid-year reset, right? And the term itself has reset in it. So I'm going to be sectioning this video into two different sections. One is going to be the reset, because obviously you cannot enter a new era or a new phase of yours without actually reflecting on the past and your past goals and your past achievements, right? And you always need to reset before you actually start or restart. So yeah, one section is going to be reset and the other section is going to be the plan, which is the actionable steps and tips that I wanted to share with you all, where I think that it could help to save 2024, and you could at the end of this episode sort of have a clear mindset of how you can save your year and achieve something out of it. So the first reset point is declutter your devices. Now this is very important because every time we are with our devices, right, we are with technology and we are constantly using it for our benefit as well. So when you open your phone, you have all of these apps on your screen, like everything dumped on your home screen, and when you open your gallery, you barely have storage to click or record any more videos or pictures. Why? Because your gallery is filled with so many pictures and videos already. When you open your email to actually reply to a brand or if you want to email somebody, it is always cluttered. Why? Because there are so many unwanted and spam emails that are just rotting in the app. Don't you want to get rid of all of that and actually make your phone favorable towards you instead of using it as a device which is against you? No, we definitely do not want our phone to be against us. So when we clutter our phone and we have so many text messages just sitting in there and we don't clear them out, our mind is also cluttered, because since we use the phone so much, we obviously see it constantly, and what we constantly see and feel, we actually become that, and that is how the phone can also impact our mind. And we don't want that. We don't have time and energy for that, right? So make sure that before you actually start your action guide towards saving 2024, this should be a very important, considerable step for the reset part. Now I'm going to be sharing some things that I did to declutter my phone, because I usually use my phone, but you guys may use your laptop or any other device that you use on a daily basis. The first thing that I did is go onto my email and remove and unsubscribe for unwanted emails. Now I used to follow a lot of brands before, and I constantly get emails from them, so I unsubscribed to those. I also deleted emails that I no longer want to see or no longer need. I also removed spam emails. Also from the recycle bin. You have to make sure that you've cleared that as well. And then I went to my gallery where I have deleted pictures. Now when I tell you, my gallery, my storage was filled fully. It had no space left to take anything more, just because when I was in 9th grade, currently I'm in 10th, and when I was in 9th grade, I used to take so many pictures of my pages of the book, just to read when I'm on shoot or when I'm working and I don't really have time to open a book physically. I have so many PDFs on my phone, and you know what, one day I just sat down and I was like, I cannot keep my phone like this, because I'm in 10th grade now. I don't really need any of the 9th grade stuff on my phone, right? And even if I do, I always have access to websites, I always have access to different apps, so I don't really need to keep it in my gallery and fill my storage. So I decluttered my gallery as well. I removed unwanted images that I don't really need anymore, as I gave the example of my books. Also, I removed images where there are people around me which I don't really associate with anymore. And trust me when I say this, it's really important to declutter that as well, because when you constantly are stuck on the past memories, you can never really move on from them, you can never really let go, you can never really enter a new phase of your life. And if you want to rot in that same phase of yours, this episode is not for you. But if you want to help yourself to get out of the phase and to do something better for yourself, then this is definitely the podcast and episode for you. So make sure you're decluttering almost everything. I also deleted my unwanted text messages that I don't really need to see anymore. And as I said, people I don't associate with anymore, there is no point to keep the chats between us as well. So I deleted that, and yeah, my phone is so much in a better place right now. It is very decluttered, it is very simple, minimalistic, and it is just it consists of only what I need, and it does not consist of anything that is unwanted. Also, I decided to do one thing. I decided to organize my apps into folders. Now this is not necessary for everybody to do, because everybody is different. They want to look they want their phone to look in a particular way, which is fine. But what I did is I made a social media folder where Instagram, YouTube, everything is there. Then I made a YouTube folder in which my YouTube studio, my all the YouTube editing part is there. And then I made a folder of studies. If I have any study apps, I'm going to be putting it into that folder. So that basically the whole point of making all of these folders is so that my home screen does not look cluttered. It does not distract me, because when you open your phone or when you unlock your phone, the first thing you do is look at your home screen. And if your home screen has apps right in front of you, like Instagram, like YouTube, like Facebook or Snapchat, you will obviously feel the urge to open the app and to scroll, and then again hours are wasted, and we don't want that. We don't have the time for that. So that's why I chose to make these folders, so that the distracting apps are not exactly in front of me. I have to go into the folder and then go into the app. So this way my mind is clear. There is no cluttered stuff on my phone or on my home screen. And also when I open my home screen, I'm not immediately distracted, or I don't have the urge to immediately go on social media and scroll for hours and waste my time. So yeah, these are the two benefits I think which will help you and which are going to make a huge impact. Because also when we don't declutter our devices, I think we can't really enter into a new phase. Believe it or not, it's true, I've experienced it. So yeah, make sure you do this the first thing before you start saving your year. The next is review your past goals and ask yourself whether you still want to achieve them or not, and clear the goals you don't want to achieve them. Now this can be divided into 3 categories. The one is you still want to sort of achieve them but are not really prioritizing it, like it is not a priority to achieve it. The second is you don't want to achieve it at all. You have moved past it, which is completely fine. We all grow through things, and you don't necessarily have to achieve that goal in your present when you've already lost interest or the passion for it. So that is the second category, where you don't want to achieve it at all. And the third one is where you're passionate to achieve it and you still want to achieve it, like you still have interest in it. So these are the 3 categories. Now the benefit of this point is there are a lot of goals, and I sat down to write my goal list last year, which I wanted to achieve this year, like on the New Year day. So I wrote everything, like I want to achieve this in 2024, I want to achieve that and all of that. And I'm sure we all do that at the end of every year, like we set some goals or resolutions for ourselves. However, people make it a really big deal to achieve it. To you have to do it, you've set it for yourself. Look, if you have set it for yourself doesn't really mean that you always have to achieve it, even when you've lost the passion or interest about it. Because what's the point of achieving it when you're not really interested or drawn towards it, right? Now I want to achieve a lot of goals in my aspect of acting. Since I'm an actor, I have a lot of goals that I've set for myself for 2024. However, if I feel like there is something I'm not really drawn towards, or I'm not really passionate towards, now I'm not talking about motivation, I'm talking about the attraction I have towards the goal, the passion, the fire that I feel that okay, if I achieve this, I am going to achieve that, and that is going to be amazing. If I don't have that for a goal anymore, I will cut it down. I will not force myself to achieve it, which you also have to do. You have to see what resolutions or what goals you set for yourself in the start of the year or the ending of 2023, and then accordingly sort goals for yourself. Like okay, you don't want to do this, fine. You still want to do it but not really a priority, keep it separate. If you don't want to do this at all, like you've lost complete interest for it, then just cut it down. Don't force yourself to achieve any goal if you're not really drawn towards it, because then after you achieve it, you're not really gonna see the fire or the main motive of the goal, which is definitely not what we want. The next is journal prompts, which are going to help you to sort into these categories, the categories that I told you. Now you can take the reference from Pinterest for the prompts. Some of the prompts that I personally used are: what goals do I feel drawn towards now in the present? Is this goal really aligned to my future self or who I see that I'm going to become? Because see, it's really important, like when you're achieving your goals, you also have to keep your future self in mind, also your best version and your highest version, where you're at the most energy level, you're most accomplished. Like we all visualize all of that, right? Like we all want to become successful, we all have that passion for achieving a lot of success and money and respect and love, right? So when we visualize that, we have to keep our present also in mind. We cannot just ignore the present and not do anything in the present which is going to benefit our future. So when we set goals for ourselves, we also sometimes don't really keep our future in mind, which then leads us to doing things that we don't really want to do but are forced to do just because we wrote in our goal list. So yeah, use journal prompts that are going to make you self-aware of which goal you have moved past and you don't really see your future self achieving it, and which goal do you see in the future. Like for example, you have the passion for music and you want to become a singer. Is this something your future self would do? Would that person be a singer, or would that person just be an entrepreneur, for example? Like you have to sort goals that are in your present according to your future, while also keeping the present in mind. So I think the best way to do is using prompts, because journaling is exactly the time where you actually reflect on yourself and how you're feeling about a particular task or a goal. Also, you can use prompts that help you to see where you stand currently without thinking about the future. For example, you want to see where you've been so far on the journey of being a singer, for example. So what all have you done so far to sort of at least come closer to your goal? So since journey also matters a lot, you can use prompts from Pinterest or Google, and you can just reflect on yourself. You can see where you stand right now. You can see what all you can do ahead in the coming days to get more and more closer to your goal. And lastly, for the reset section of this episode, journal prompts for what all have you grown through, what all have you learned from all of your current experiences when you were on this journey of achieving your goal, and what all do you not want to repeat when you start your mid-year reset. Now for example, I have always made sure that I am feeling passionate towards my goal. If I'm not, then I'll simply not be motivated also to do it, right? And motivation plays a huge role. Even discipline does, but motivation is equally important in my opinion. So I sort of use prompts where I know that okay, this is where I stand. Do I feel proud of it, or do I feel more excited for the future result that is going to come? Do I like the progress? Do I like the process? Everything comes into picture, and I think journaling is where you can be completely honest. Nobody's going to judge you about it. Nobody's going to see that page of yours or that paragraph, or write how many pages you want in that journal. Finish the journal, but at least get it out of your system. So I also recommend doing prompts where not only your goals matter, but also your emotions towards the goal. Now, coming to the most exciting part, personally for me, in this episode is the planning part. You know why? Because in this planning part, I'm going to be telling you some actionable steps, tips, and advices that I have personally also used for my mid-year reset. First is create a routine, a everyday routine that works for you in your favor. Now there are thousands of billionaire, millionaire, all of those trending topics on YouTube or Instagram that you will see other people showcasing their routine to you, their daily morning routine, night routine, evening routine. Doesn't mean you have to set your routine according towards their routine, right? You have to choose your own routine. You have to create and build your own routine that works for you. So for example, you're not really that energized in the morning, so what you'll do is you'll keep all the tasks which need energy in the evening, and you will set a little lighter, simpler task for the morning because you're not really energized and motivated in the morning. This is how you will achieve your task, both the task, the easy one and the hard one where you need a lot of energy, at the same day. And that is honestly the best thing. You cannot really work towards a particular task without having energy which the task needs, right? So for example, set the low energy task in the morning time if you feel like you are a little bit lazy and procrastinating and everything in the morning, and set the more difficult, more energy level task in the evening so that you can achieve both on the same day. Also, make sure that when you create a night routine for yourself, incorporate things that are going to help you wind down before you go to bed. This is very important because when we usually just enter our bedroom, we scroll on Instagram, we keep our phone on charging, and we sleep. I mean, that's how I used to be before. But now I've made sure that at least 10 minutes before I sleep, I will not touch my phone. I know that people are not supposed to touch their phone an hour before they sleep, but obviously nobody changes immediately within snap. So what I do is I keep my phone 10 minutes before I'm planning to go to bed, and I will do things that will help me calm down and cool down and regulate and reflect and wind down. So I listen to my playlist, and I listen to affirmations, or I listen to some cool music, some chill music, and just give that space and time for myself and just wind down, just feel like, okay, the day is over, I can sleep peacefully. What all did I accomplish today? What made me happy today? What made me a little bit upset today? What really energized me? What really excited me? So all of those prompts, I actually have started journaling. I know in the last few episodes I said that I'm not journaling, but I started it because it's amazing. Trust me, it's so beneficial, and I realize it now, and I realize why so many self-development YouTubers have always spoken about journaling and the importance of it. So that's what I've incorporated in my routine as well. This is why I personally think it's important to wind down before you actually go to sleep, because when we go to sleep, a lot of us don't really take it so seriously. We just like sleep for the sake of like, oh my god, it's late, I have to sleep, I have to wake up in the morning, do work and everything. A good sleep and a normal sleep is different. A good sleep is when you've actually gotten your thoughts and your emotions out of your system and out of your head, and you have slept peacefully, right? And we can only do that when we incorporate things that are going to help us do that into our night routine before we actually go to bed. So this is why I suggest that whenever you create a night routine for yourself, specifically a night routine, you have to make sure that you are incorporating things that will help you wind down, that will help you get your emotions out. For example, you incorporate journaling, right? Now simply you can write a sentence, or you can write a paragraph, or basically use prompts also to journal to help yourself and help your mind to cool down after a long day. So yeah, the first part was making a routine that works for you in your favor. The next is do a simple action that will help you boost your happy hormones every day. Now, working, achieving goals, everything, success, everything, keeping a little bit apart, we also need to focus on our happiness and how we feel and how our state of mind is, right? So every single day, make sure that you incorporate a simple small action, even if it is the smallest thing that makes you happy. Incorporate it every single day into your routine so that you feel happy and you feel excited to start your day. You feel good when you are actually doing or achieving a particular task and not just doing it for the sake of like ticking off from your to-do list. Now, for example, when I wake up, I love to have a cup of coffee and just sit with myself and make my task list if I've not made it the previous night. That is the smallest thing, right? Like making a cup of coffee. I do that every single morning so that I feel more happy towards starting my day. You can also choose something for yourself which is a little small thing that will make you happy, that will boost your mood and excite you to start your day. Now, in the reset part, if you guys remember, we spoke about how leaving your goals behind and resetting your goals, right? Now what you can do in the planning part is, suppose you've removed 2 goals out of your life which you don't really want to achieve anymore. Set 2 more goals in replacement of the previous 2 goals. Basically set replacements for your previous goals and plan how you're going to achieve it. You can use some actionable steps, you can research about the goal, you can incorporate small little, even 15 minutes for that task every single day so that you're getting more closer to your goal. And you can search for some tips that people give online based on your goal, which is personal. Next is have at least a single daily win out of these 3 categories. The first is physical, the second is mental and emotional, and the third is your goals. Now, for example, it's really important to keep your mental health, your work and your physical health all separate, right? So every single day, make sure that when you sit down to make your task list, you are incorporating all of these 3 things, at least a single thing from these 3 categories. So for your mental health, as I said in the first tip of this section of the episode, you can do a small thing which will boost your happy hormones, right? So you can do that, incorporate that in your task list, which is a single win for you, right? The second is physical health, right? So you can set a workout routine for yourself which you can do thrice or 5 times a week, and you can achieve your fitness goal as well, at the same time keeping in mind that your body needs to move, it needs to be active. Even if you don't have a fitness goal, you don't want abs, you don't want to go to the gym, go for a simple 30-minute walk and that's it. That's a physical win. And lastly, the your goals part, obviously we all are, I think, already incorporating that. But for example, your goal is to get into the habit of journaling. So every single day, make sure that you incorporate a journal at least 10 minutes or 5 minutes in your task list, which is also you getting closer to the habit you want to build, at the same time achieving it and feeling good about it. So like 3 wins are done for every day. The second last is do a SWOT analysis. Now, SWOT's full form is basically strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Now, strengths, you basically have to list down what are your strengths, what do you think you can do best, what do you think that you're most excited for, what do you think that you really want to do this. So that is your strength, where you have the capability to do something. Your weakness is where you feel low when you do it, or when you don't really feel some fire towards the task, or you cannot do it, you don't have the ability to do it. So that comes into the weakness part. Opportunities is where you have the capability to do it but can't really do it right now. I think you can do it in the future. So when you have something which is for the future, you put that into the opportunities section. And the threats are basically what is stopping you from doing it in the present. So as I said, if you cannot do something in the present, set it into the opportunities section where you can do it in the future, right? But in the threat section, you will write the reason why. Basically, doing this analysis for yourself will tell you where you stand right now, how you feel towards particular things, what are you best at, what are you the most weak at, what opportunities do you have in future, and what threatens those opportunities to be incorporated into your present. And lastly, this is not really an actionable step, but I'm just telling you, I think take it as an advice or a piece of word from my side. Please focus on your mental health and physical health as well, not just ticking off your task list. Your body needs to be active and your mental health needs to be into the right state. Sure, we all want success, we all want to achieve everything, but please remember to breathe. Remember that your mental and physical health is more important than your goals. And yeah, always incorporate things that will be beneficial for all three. As I said, the 3 daily wins, remember that when you make your task list. And we come to the end of this episode. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys end your 2024 strong. Even if you didn't start well, that's completely fine. We all are humans, we make some silly mistakes, which is fine. And make sure that you are happy when you end this year, you're proud of yourself, or you feel accomplished when you end this year. I hope you guys have a great year ahead. And also, sorry for taking a little break from the podcast and not really uploading it frequently. I was actually on a break, and those who follow me on Instagram know that, so make sure you follow me for staying all updated about it. Thank you so much for listening to me. Take care of yourself, and I will see you guys next time. Till then, take care. I love you. Bye.